Okay, so I'm walking back by the org, and it has a side door entrance. And it turns out that you have to go around there, press a button, and then someone will let you in. And just as I was there was a woman who was going up to the door and pressing a button. And I don't know how I didn't see this yesterday, but this is how you know. And so that entrance is around this corner, and I did not video like any identifying features of that woman. There might be just a shot of her in the shadows. And of course, if anyone were to come out, I would not film them. So, and there's a person there, and I'm not going to film them. So, but that's the door, and you can see, well, right, yeah, they're going in, and they're to the right. They went in through this door here, and you can see when you go up to it that it's very specifically says Scientology. And then when they went in, they went to the right. So it is obviously on the front of the building. So I don't have my gimbal on. I don't have my other stuff on. Now I see a person outside all of a sudden. But again, I'm not going to video anybody because that's not legal. So I'm just going to keep going by. But, or at least to directly and intentionally do it. So anyway, can you hear me okay on there? I did check and see there isn't another org in Geneva. This is it. And so obviously their way around the closed office building is to, have that entrance where you got to push a button and all that sort of stuff. So someone was going in there to get some sort of services. I'm going to take a guess and say the guy who was out front smoking a cigarette, and you can just see the person there, but it's not good enough picture to where I violate any Swiss law. You can't see who the gentleman is. Darn it. I saw oh, there we go. Yeah, there is a lot of money. The big, here, it's like one of the most expensive cities to live in Europe. And I'm actually going to start heading back to my car because I've got other things I've got to get done today. In fact, my luggage I don't know how, somehow it didn't get loaded on the plane in Washington, so, which I thought was really weird. And so, anyway, I came by and you couldn't tell that if there was anything, and somebody had mentioned that they thought there was one on Waterloo Street, but that's in Brussels, Belgium. It's not here. I double checked when I got back to my apartment last night, to see. So at any rate, I'm really bummed about my luggage because I want to go over to France, and let's see, oh, well, I don't disagree with you. As far as the Swiss go, clearly there's somebody here. And if you go look at their website, they have stuff on there. The Ideal org is in Basel, Switzerland. It opened up, I don't know when, I think before COVID. And I thought about going there, but geez, it's 4 hours away. And I really didn't want to have to do that. So I decided against it. And, you know, I want my luggage to get here because I want to go to, there's a little town in France about 20 miles away from here that has a really cool castle that I would like to go visit. And I want to say it was like the Dukes of Geneva and now Savoy. It was would have been their castle, but it's now public, and it's you know, you can tour it and all that sort of stuff, and it has a museum. And when I go on work trips, not only do I try to visit the occasional org if I can, but I always try to go do something cultural to learn about the area. And in this case, I flew in a couple days early, mainly because, to be honest, it saved several $1,000s on the airline ticket. And turned out that the Airbnb I have, which is beautiful, was so much less than the hotel I was going to be in, which admittedly was the Ritz-Carlton here. That was like $1,500 a night. So I'm like, nah, I'm not going to do that. And I got this lovely apartment. Oh, here comes a Lamborghini. I'm also a car guy. So, moment for a little car porn. Yeah, sweet. Nice Lamborghini Gallardo. Anyway, so this is another, well, I shouldn't say it's a disappointing org. It's actually a good thing. I'm glad they're not thriving. You know, and I don't know how protesting works here. I think it's a lot different than obviously in the United States. You can't just do it. And, you know, I'm not, and you guys have seen my videos. I don't really get invective or anything. I did a little bit at the place in Hollywood. And that was way back when, well before, what's his name, Sebastian became famous. And, you know, it's funny, when I talked to Sebastian off camera without anybody around, and I told him, I said, there's a lot of people, you know, you can get out, and they'll take care of you. So, and he's disappeared. So I'm sure they've sent him somewhere else. Did they send him back to Mexico? Who knows? Or is he just, you know, in one of the other blue buildings being hidden away doing other work? But his days of being a street recruiter are definitely over, and the same goes for all of them. By the way, I'm just sort of, oops, let's see what you got to say there. Oh, darn it, why does it do that? I like the way you and Carrie Ann, quote, protest. You're both as polite. And the cult still reacts. Oh, shoot. I just lost your thing, but I found out how I can reread it. Still reacts so rudely and still hides. Well, of course, because the only way they operate is, you know, it's always attack, never defend. And so now, if you watched my video from Honolulu, I talked to a staff member, because I'm certain he was not Sea Org, since the Sea Org, I was just learning this morning. I was watching one of Aaron's videos. The Sea Org does not operate at most Class 5 orgs, unless it's because they couldn't get the people to work it. So I'm guessing this guy was a staff member. He said that he'd been there he'd been a member of the church for 50 years, and he was an older gentleman. He was very polite. Eventually he came out with a camera and started, you know, videoing me. And he actually asked me a few questions, and I answered his questions. And asked me my name. I told him, and took pictures. But here's the interesting thing. If you watch that video, when I was talking to the young guy who went in there to see what it was all about, he they grilled him, and he wouldn't do the personality test, and they were trying to get him to give more information, all that sort of stuff. And so when I was filling him in on what's going on, what Scientology is all about, that guy came out and was filming / listening. I wasn't being rude about what I was saying. I was just stating the facts about, what they believe, what they do. I did talk about disconnection. I can't remember everything else. I need to go and make that cut as a separate video. And the way YouTube works, you have to download it onto your local device, which I did. So now I need to go in and edit that down and do a shorter version so people will actually watch it, because these walk-bys are kind of boring, if I'm being honest. So I mean, they're not boring if something happens, but I'm really just doing it to have a resource for others to go, what's Scientology like in city X? So my next town I'm going to is going to be Frankfurt, Germany, but I'm not really going to be in Frankfurt. I'm going to be in another area called Kaiserslautern, and then after that, several hours east in Bavaria from there. And I'm 99% sure there's nothing. There might be something in Frankfurt, but I'm going to be there with work colleagues. We're sharing a rental car and staying at the same hotel, so I'm not going to be doing any of this, unfortunately, while I'm there. And and there is Scientology in Germany, but it's pretty unpopular. By the way, I'm out by the airport, and these buildings are not pretty. And that one's okay, I guess. It has that 60s and 70s vibe where they were trying to make it like they were Mies van der Rohe, and these aren't. If you saw the Air Force Academy buildings, those are more accurate to that style. I still think they're kind of ugly, but and it is Geneva, so I did buy a watch. I don't know if you guys can see it, and believe it or not, that is actually a swatch. And I had the moon swatch, and I went in to see what other moon swatches they had, and they didn't have the one I want, and the lady said, "Oh, you should try this. We're doing a new watch with Blanc Pan." And so, thank you. Yeah. And so this is based on the 50 Fathoms watch that Blanc Pan came out with back in the 1950s. And this one's so exclusive, it's not even in their brochure materials. It's called Ocean of Storms, which is the only ocean on the moon that is called an ocean. And so my background is in the space business, so I love that kind of stuff. And I went to the Omega store, but I'm waiting before I buy another Omega. I've got a couple of them now, and they're all older, so I don't have any new ones. But contrary to what it seems, I make a good living, but we don't blow our money. We're actually very careful with it. And so, but I was in Switzerland. I had to buy something, and thankfully it made it through my wife's judgment. So, someone. Okay, I can't see that, but nice swatch. Hey, perhaps they sent Sebastian where Shelley Miscavige has been sent, or to someplace equally as remote, and that is certainly possible. By the way, I don't see I don't know. I have to believe with his multilingual skills that they're not going to waste that completely. They're just going to send him where protesters aren't. And where, he's not going to be somebody on the cover of Teen Beat, if any of you remember that. So, by the way, this is the area I'm in right now by the airport. But what's more interesting about this area is that all of the big United Nations stuff is kind of over here a little bit more. And then see that right there, that's the CERN where the Large Hadron Collider is. And I may go see it if I can get away from some of my meetings this week. We'll sort of see what's happening. But the CERN is really cool. And the old town is just beautiful. I walked through it yesterday. That's where I bought the watch. So it's a real privilege to get to be here. I am going to go to London in a couple weeks, and I'll be a little bit more solo. I mean, there's going to be a bunch of work colleagues there too, but I'll be able to get away because I definitely want to go to the London org and maybe even try to meet up with some other folks who are over there. At least go get dinner or something like that. I don't know, but anyway. Any questions before I end this? Because I want to go find some lunch, and I might go buy a t-shirt just in case my luggage doesn't make it back to me, even though I know it's right over there is the airport, like right straight over there. And I know it's there because the good people at United told me it was there. It just hasn't gone through customs yet. And I'm like, oh, for Pete's sake. But I guess it takes a lot longer when it's, when you're not there with it. So I didn't see any questions pop up. Nope. Okay. Well, hey, thanks for watching and thanks for likes. And also be sure and subscribe if you haven't. Tell your friends about it if they're just interested in kind of a more quieter tone. Oops, what does that say? Oh, have a great day. Okay, awesome. Or have a good day. Thank you. And, and if you feel like throwing me some coffee, the only thing I'm trying to really raise any kind of funding for, honestly, is just to pay for the SteamYard Pro. But I can tell you right now, my wife gets tired of all the extra little things that I do. So I try to respect her for that. So, thanks. I hope I get my luggage too. And, all right. Excellent. I was in Oklahoma the other day, by the way, this week. I was in Oklahoma on Tuesday night, and I had meetings there on Wednesday. And then I flew back Wednesday night, and then I had a day at home, and then I flew here. And before that, I was out in Hawaii, so it's been a really rough travel couple weeks. I know it sounds great, in Hawaii, but think about the time zones I've gone through in the last 2 weeks. I feel like today I'm maybe becoming a human again. All right, guys, have a great day. Thanks for watching, and we'll talk to you soon.